My name is James Bryant, and I am absolutely delighted that you've decided to join us this evening and kind of take this first step in achieving a better work-life balance, or maybe for you, it's work-life integration. Sometimes it seems like it can be impossible to achieve that kind of balance, but hopefully by the end of our time together today, you'll recognize that there are some simple steps that you can take that can actually help you prioritize what it is you want so that you can get the type of work-life balance that you're looking for. Over the past 20 years, I've helped managers and key executives solve the work-life balance dilemma, both in my role as an entrepreneur and in my role working for the private sector and in the public sector. My goal is really to help you succeed both in business and in life. I want you to be able to pursue your dreams without sacrificing the career or the business that you want, or in some degree that you deserve. Let's talk about this technology, right? It's a blessing and it's a curse. Everybody knows this. Like, if you look at the thing that you have in your pocket or sitting next to you, my background doesn't show it, but it's your phone. It's there. That's one of the things that allows you to have access to everything at your fingertips. That's great. The bad thing is that it allows you to have everything at your fingertips all the time. And so it really is a blessing and a curse. And you have to learn how to place boundaries on your time, on yourself, even when you're dealing with any kind of these trinkets, whether it's your smartwatch, your smartphone, it's your computer. The technology is great, but learning how to leverage that technology so that it serves you and that you don't serve the technology is the key, one of the keys really to getting around the work-life balance issue. Working is hurting us, right? It really is hurting us. There's compounding stress from these never-ending days, and particularly since a lot of us are working from home. A lot of your employees may be working from home, and now the lines between work and home have blurred, and some employees are experiencing additional stress just because the kids are at home. I'm fortunate that I believe that we're coming in on the other side of the pandemic, but a lot of folks have been under stress, both the mental stress of what has been going on with the pandemic and the stress of the blending of that work and life and everything being there together. Studies have shown that stress at work can be just as dangerous as secondhand smoke, and that high demanding jobs will increase the odds of having a doctor diagnosed illness by 35%. Research has also shown that long hours will increase the chances of early death by 20%. Long-term overworking, it really can lead to anxiety, depression, high blood pressure, insomnia, and a weakened immune system. And that is the last thing that we need when we're facing any kind of health issue, is a weakened immune system. It's learning how to put boundaries around those things that are important to you, learning how to take care of yourself and continue to contribute to your work, continue to contribute to your company, is one of the great things that you can do. And you'll find out as we talk about this a little bit later, it can actually make you more productive in what you want to do. One thing is absolutely true. You have to be able to let go of perfectionism. All right. When you're in school and your whole life revolves around getting homework done or projects completed, it's easy to focus your attention on your work. But if you're the type of person that spent a lot of time and energy focusing on school, then you may have those perfectionist habits. And those habits have likely followed you into adulthood. Unfortunately, as we grow older, our responsibilities become broader. But instead of spending our free time studying for tests, we have to balance relationships, errands, the children, working from home, calling into the office, Zoom meetings. And so you start thinking about all these things, and then mentally, a lot of times we want everything to be perfect. One of the keys for solving this dilemma, for dealing with work-life balance, is being able to let go of perfectionism. It does not have to be perfect, but you do have to make time for those things that are most important to you. And then we was having a conversation before we actually officially started. And there are times in life where life is going to be unbalanced, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be in perfect balance all the time. The thing is about your level of intentionality when these things occur. How intentional are you about the choices that you make? And do those choices serve you and your ultimate goal of achieving the type of work-life balance that you're looking for? Instead of striving for perfection, you really want to strive for excellence. You really want to make sure that you're looking more for excellence and not necessarily for perfection. Not that long ago, it was a badge and honor to work a 7-day work week, a 12-hour work day, working on proposals, working on a site, you're working all of these long hours, and you come home and you're feeling good and you're saying you're providing for your family, you're making that contribution. But what are you doing? Are you making time for yourself? Are you making time to spend with your family? Are you actually providing for your family? Because the one thing that's most important for your family isn't necessarily the income. They need shelter, they need food, but most importantly, they need you. It's being able to think of things in that way, that you are the most important resource that your family has. You are the most important resource that your company has. If you're the business owner or a key executive, you're an important resource. And just like all of the other investments, you need to look after you and think of yourself as that investment. Back to that technology thing, some of the things that you can do is really just unplug. Take some time, turn the phone off, turn off the notifications, just let it go. Understand that if someone's trying to get in contact with you, they're going to survive. It will be okay. You're not always going to be able to respond to things. And there's some stuff that you'll get the notification for and you'll be thinking about it and it's bothering you, but there's nothing you can do about it. And now you've spent time thinking about it. You wasted energy thinking about it, but there's absolutely nothing that you can do. Take some time. I encourage you, cut the technology off. For myself personally, about 8 p.m., I cut off all the notifications. If you call me after 8 p.m., you're getting the answer machine. And that's because it's time for me to kind of wind down and go to sleep. And this goes into the next slide that we're going to talk about. And it's really about exercise. Everybody knows that it's coming as part of work-life balance, a part of managing your stress. You have to be actually exercise. You have to exercise. And it's interesting. We're busy. A lot of times we let things go. Sometimes we'll skip meals. Maybe we don't make enough time for sleep. And not getting enough sleep is a huge problem. But one thing that can really throw a wrench into the unhealthy cycle and force you to eat and sleep is actually exercise. If you're exercising regularly, it will help to get you in the rhythm of eating because you'll need to have the resources and the fuel to help you exercise. And you'll actually sleep better. And because you'll be tired, you'll be a little bit more fatigued, but it's a good kind of energy. Maybe some of you may be yoga fans. Download an app, do some yoga. Maybe you want to practice a plank like the person showing on the slide. That may be the thing for you. For me, it's Orange Theory Fitness. I've been going to Orange Theory Fitness probably for 3 years now. At this point, I go 4 to 5 days a week. I'm up at the gym at 4:45 a.m. I want to get it done because it's important to me. And I do my hour workout. I come back. And the one thing is true about conquering the scale, so to speak. If weight is an issue, you have to do exercise and it's diet. And for me, I couldn't conquer the scale until I conquered the kitchen. I really started to look at what I was eating and how I was eating and started to make those choices. But all of those things come into play when we're trying to achieve work-life balance.
All right.
When you start thinking about exercise, maybe it's not your thing going to the gym. go play basketball, right? If you play basketball, go shoot hoops. If golf is your thing, plan some time to go with some friends and go play golf. When we were younger, we would just go outside and do stuff. That's all we would do. We just go outside and do stuff. We would be outside. We would be very active. You're running around with your friends. Now it seems like all we want to do with our friends is, hey, let's go grab a drink or let's go hang out after work and let off some steam. How about you get your friends and you guys get together and you blow off steam by going for a walk, or you blow off steam by playing some kind of basketball game or physical activity. If that's the thing that you want to do, incorporate some of these things that will allow you to get the balance that you need. Now, there are other folks that may really be into meditation, and meditation and mindfulness really does help to center your thoughts. People that sometimes may think that meditation is I'm sitting there and I'm quiet and it's no use, but it's really quieting your mind. A lot of times we all have a voice that's talking to us, our own voice, our own inner voice. And when you're able to meditate and sit and think and just let your thoughts go, it really helps us to focus on being present in this moment. And you'll be amazed at some of the things that you may uncover about yourself, some of the problems that you may solve with work, not even trying to think about those problems, but just sitting down and being present in the moment and letting your mind do what it does. Meditation, it reduces the stress. And it's also a great way to kind of check in with yourself and evaluate any kind of pain or mental stress and see where that stress is manifesting itself. Is it in your shoulders? Are you having something in your shoulders? Is it your arms? Is it your legs? Do you feel tight? But being present and understanding what's going on in your body is a great way to use some mindfulness and meditation techniques. You absolutely have to ditch the stuff that wastes your time. When you want to grow, you're going to have to let something go. And growing in the area of work-life balance, when you want to become more proficient in work-life balance, there are going to be time where you're going to have to let some things go. And some of those things actually waste your time. And so if there's an app on your phone or there's a show that you like to watch, and every time you say you're going to spend time reading that book, every time you say you're going to spend time doing that thing that you said you wanted to do, whether it's spending time with your family, whether it's reading a book, investing in yourself, if you find that when you try to do that, you're drawn to this app or you're drawn to this video or you're doing something different, then it may be time for you to you can download different apps on your phone to block that particular app for a little while, to remove the temptation of doing that so that you can begin to focus. It's like putting guardrails on what you want to keep your way straight so that you can focus on the habits that you actually want to do. And this is absolutely true that you cannot pour from an empty cup. If you don't have the energy or the reserves that's needed, you're not going to be able to continue to function, at least not at a high level. And one of the key ways of being able to do that is learning how to say no. And it's saying no to other people. It's saying no to those things that are not serving you. It's saying no to those things that are not worth your time, but that are distracting you or moving you away from where you say you want to go. And so if your friends ask you to go out to drink, and if you're tired, say you're tired. You're allowed to say, I'm tired and I want to spend the night just focusing on myself or with my family, because you have to be able to sit down and state where you are and what you want to go with your family and your friends. And so in the one sense, you're saying no to other people, but in the other sense, you're saying yes to yourself. I want each of you to be able to say yes to yourself. Yes, I will take the steps that are needed to refresh and recharge. Yes, I will take the steps that are needed for me to show up For me to show up and be the best that I can be, yes, I'm going to take the steps that are needed so that I can achieve the balance that I am looking for. Just in terms of tips on saying no to other people, right? I think sometimes it's hard for us to say yes to ourselves, but it's also hard for us to say yes to other people. We really don't like saying no. There are people who write for a living, but have a difficulty. They did a study. They had difficulty communicating no when they typed. It was difficult them for when someone was asking them for something. It was difficult for them to type no. But sometimes it's not only okay to say no, it's right to say no. So you should say no every once in a while, and say yes to yourself. It can be awkward, and you want to make sure when you're dealing with other people that you are saying no to the activity and not to the person, that you're not belittling the person, but you're affirming the person. And you're saying, hey, maybe tonight's not a good night for us to go hang out and do that. Maybe we can go for a walk tomorrow, because if it's about spending time with them, maybe you can find alternative ways to spend time that will be consistent with your goal and the balance that you're looking for. So do you feel like your work days are normal? I doubt anyone who is on this webinar feels like their work day is normal. It's really interesting, though, is that if you look at statistics, the United States ranks 30th out of 38 countries that were ranked for work-life balance. And so some of the European countries really have a much higher happiness quotient. And in the Netherlands, they get a 4-day work week. They're only working 29 hours a week. They have paid vacations, maternity leave, paternity leave, and they have the right to reduce their hours to part-time without losing their job. It seems like it would be a great place to work, but not a great place to own a business. But it just seems like it really does promote just more time with your family, more time doing those things that may be of interest to you. If you're in France, they're lucky enough to enjoy a policy that really encourages employees to disconnect from work email while off work. And they're, I think, up to 25 mandated vacation days each year. So for me, and a lot of us, particularly with this work from home, we've all been working. We haven't been taking as much time off. One, there hasn't been any place to go, or I wanted to go. You couldn't travel anywhere. And all of the normal places and things that you would do, maybe going to visit family, we weren't doing. And so it was this compounding effect of work upon work upon work. And if you don't watch it, that becomes your new normal. You have to fight. You really do have to fight to put the boundaries in place so that you can get the normal that you want. So don't fear. There is still hope. There is still hope, because when you begin to prioritize work-life balance, a lot of different things start to happen. So not only if you are an employer, not only do employees benefit from work-life balance, but employers benefit too. So numbers show that employers that prioritize work-life balance, they actually make more profits. And I think that's partially because they have increased productivity. Their employees don't feel overworked. And there's a sense of loyalty that comes when your company or organization is able to show that they care about you and make that level of investment in you. There's decrease in staff turnover. You know, one of the costly things that happens in business is when you're continuously onboarding employees. And so when you're able to have a culture that promotes work-life balance, a culture where you have that level of openness and support, then it will decrease turnover. And again, if you start decreasing turnover, you're increasing loyalty, you're increasing productivity, then that will have a direct impact on your bottom line. So I'm an employer. What do I do to encourage work-life balance? Or you could be a manager. What do you do to really promote work-life balance on your team? One, if you have the ability as an employer or a manager, offer some flexible or alternative hours. A lot of times it just really depends on when the work gets done, not necessarily the exact hour of the day that work gets done. A lot of employers have allowed people to work from home. And now that things are opening up, that's one of the things that we'll see. Our employers going to continue to allow their staff to work off site. If you have that ability and flexibility and have those management tools in place, then that's something that you can encourage to try to help your employees with that work-life balance. So I'm sure that each of you have some suggestions or things that you can do. If you do, you can put it in the chat or we can talk about it when we get to the question and answer. We are almost finished with our presentation. There are a few more slides for us to go. So when you think about, I'm in the market for a job, what can I do? So if you're in the market for a job or you're looking to make a change, one of the things you're looking at is the culture of that company that you're going to. Is it open to telecommuting? Is it open to allowing you to work from home? What's their stance on flexibility? Is it flexible? If you get a chance, talk to some of their employees and see how if their work culture is family friendly. What happens if a parent has to request some time off at the last minute for a family emergency? Take some time to determine what your real needs are and look at it from your broadest perspective. And at some point, flexibility and a slightly lower salary is worth more than a higher salary with little or no flexibility. Because if you don't have flexibility to focus on what matters most to you, then you are not going to be in a desirable or good situation. There's some other balancing techniques for parents. And this is interesting for me, being is that I working in my home office, the kids are here at home. My boys are 12 and 13. And so I invite them into my workspace at times. And so they're going to come in here anyway. So I want to invite them in. You can't see it because I have a virtual background, but I have pictures of them over here. I have a little mug of things that they've given me. Things that they've given me are kind of in the background. And it's just showing them and inviting them into my space. This is where I work, but they're part of who I am and they're part of my work as well. Early on last year, I started doing a live radio show. And I work to include my family as part of my introduction. I would be doing my introduction. I would talk through, I would say something to the effect that I'm an engineer, I invest in apartment complexes, I'm a podcast host, and most importantly, I am a husband and a father, and I would talk a little bit about my family. And so one day I was talking to my 12-year-old son, and I mentioned to him, I really enjoy spending time with you guys. And he says, Dad, I know. I said, you do? He says, yeah, you mention it on the radio every week. And so inviting them into what you are doing can help them feel a part of it. And even when you're doing work and even when life may be unbalanced, they'll still feel a part of what you're doing. And so you really want to surround your work area with the people and the things that will remind you of why you're working and why you're doing what you're doing. So start small, and then you want to build. A lot of times we fail to achieve our goals because we are thinking too big in the sense of a huge step. So instead of saying, I want to lose weight, I want to lose 50 pounds. Well, how about I want to lose 2 pounds this week? Break the bigger goal up into smaller bite-sized pieces. You can achieve those smaller bite-sized pieces. And when you begin to have success, you begin to gain confidence. And success and confidence also creates momentum. And you begin to have success and confidence faster. And you'll look back and you would have achieved the big goal. But when you break it down into those baby steps, then that's really what you need to do. Work-life balance is an issue for you. If it's an issue for a friend, if it's an issue that you want to work on, you can talk about the grand things that you want to do. I want to be able to take X amount of vacations a year. I'm going to spend this amount of time with my family. How about just start 2 days this week? I'm going to come home and we're going to have a family dinner with no electronics at the table, parents included. Work on that and see if that works, and then continue to move toward your goal. So one last thing, and that is that work-life balance may mean something different to everybody. So perhaps for you, balance might not be the right word. Maybe you own your own business and you're living solo and loving it, which is absolutely fantastic. So in this case, maybe the phrase work-life harmony may work, or work-life blend sounds better to you, or work-life integration. What is important is for you to absolutely practice self-care. So you need to make time for your mental and your physical health, because at the end, the highest thing that should be on your to-do list, what I'm going to say, is you. Self-care is not selfish. I honestly believe that the most selfish thing that you can do as a parent, as a person, me as a husband, as a spouse, is to not take care of myself. If I don't take care of myself, then I'm not going to be around to spend time with my family, to continue to pour into their cup. If you don't leave away from this discussion with anything else, I want you to leave away with take care of you. Put yourself as a priority as you begin to think about work-life balance. In a few minutes, I'm going to drop the sources that I used to put this presentation together in the chat box. And then you'll be able to grab those, copy those sources if you like. And then we're done. I told you that it wouldn't take too long for us to actually go through this presentation. I want you all to learn how to prioritize the most important things in your life. And that includes you. Okay? That really does include